I would like to introduce now, to say a few words, the President of the Nassau County Corrections Officers Association, Mr. Brian Sullivan.
Thank you, Rich. Thanks, Rich. Brian Sullivan, President of the Nassau County Correctional Officers Benevolent Association. I have a few words just to speak on this, and I'm going to reiterate a little bit about what the majority leader said. The world is upside down right now. Over the last couple of years, I've done my best to expose issues in our arraignment courts where criminals have been released back into our communities for various crimes with little or no bail, or simply released on their own recognizance, endangering our citizens. But now, we've taken a giant leap off a cliff and are living in a very dangerous new world. Under what has been termed as criminal justice reform and bail reform, recently passed through the New York State budget, criminals in New York State will no longer be given bail for all misdemeanors and all nonviolent felonies. They won't even be allowed to be taken into custody by our police. That means that starting January 1st, 2020, people who commit many different types of crimes in New York will be immediately set free with what's called a desk appearance ticket. Much like a parking ticket or a moving violation, this means that the criminal will be immediately freed from the scene of the crime and advised to come back to court at a later time. Some examples of crimes where appearance tickets would be issued are many different levels of arson, DWI, certain levels of rape, burglary, possession of a weapon on school grounds, selling drugs on school property, stalking, reckless destruction of property, possession of child pornography, and forcible touching. An appearance ticket? Really? This is what we're doing? My favorite, as the majority leader said, under this new dangerous world of reform, when it comes to drug crimes. Only major drug traffickers will be subject to being taken into custody or given a bail. A major drug trafficker is someone like El Chapo or the guy that we're holding, the East Coast leader of the MS-13 in the Nassau County Jail right now. Major felony drug traffickers. Do you know what this means for us here on Long Island, our beautiful suburb that's been overrun by a devastating opioid crisis? Drug dealers walk free. You could have 10 pounds of heroin and fentanyl in your possession, and you're going to get a desk appearance ticket. But make sure you come back to court in a month. That's the new reality under bail reform. Guess what happens when they don't come back to court? The judge can't even issue a warrant for their arrest. He or she must wait 48 hours while someone tries to contact the criminal to ask him nicely to come back to court. One of the biggest dealers and importers of heroin on Long Island is the gang MS-13. We're going to issue DATs for them to come back to court at a later date. Do we need to even bring up the subject about flight risks? Risk of flight is not even a consideration either under this reform. Also written into this bill is willful and persistent refusal to come back to court can subject you to being taken into custody or being held on a bail. What is willful and persistent? 2 times you don't come back? 35 times you don't come back? Who knows? It's not specified. Lastly, and specifically written into this new law, is that there is no public safety component that will be used as a consideration for detaining any of these criminals. Put simply, no judge in New York State has the ability to take into consideration the risk that that criminal before them poses to the safety of the public. This was specifically and purposely addressed into the law because those who created it don't want judges to have the ability to detain criminals because it does not give the criminal the benefit of the doubt. Why even have judges anymore? The criminal gets the benefit of the doubt, but the safety of the public be damned. Under this new law, crime victims are completely defenseless. Criminals and desperate drug addicts can come into your home at 3 a.m., rifle through your valuables, burglarize your home, and they are issued a desk appearance to come back to court. Drug addicts can't be even forced into rehabilitation programs as they are now when they're taken into custody. They're simply released to their own devices. Drug dealers can push heroin on your kids at their schools and they get a desk appearance ticket. This travesty has been labeled by its creators as beneficial to low-income communities and benefits people of color. I've never heard of such nonsense. Black people don't commit crimes. Brown people don't commit crimes. White people don't commit crimes. Criminals commit crimes. I don't know how much clearer I can get than that. This new law harms high crime neighborhoods even more because it doesn't doesn't take criminals off the streets in those neighborhoods. It leaves them there to prey on innocent victims. Legislators at Albany who represent such districts have told us as much when we were there fighting against this new law. The New York State Senate and Assembly voted for this, and it was signed off by the governor. Our own Long Island 6 Democratic senators all voted in favor of this. Why was it done in the budget? Because it's lumped in with numerous other issues and hidden from public scrutiny prior to being implemented. If it was given the proper public airing, I guarantee it would never have been allowed to happen. This has to be corrected. This law needs to be repealed for the sake of public safety in New York State. What's going on in Albany is an affront to every single law-abiding citizen in the state of New York. Thank you very much.